Well, it looks like we have a few people getting ready to join us. And I'm just, I'm so excited about our time together today.
Thank you, Reverend Marie. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So we have a few more people coming in. That is so great to see. And welcome to the Facebook Live After Lunch special. My name is Reverend Marie, and I am so glad you're here. It was Maya Angelou who said that the quality of strength lined with tenderness is an unbeatable combination. Well, my guest today, Reverend Dr. Ogla Silva, has that strength, tenderness, and spiritual tenacity at her very core. So I'm so glad that she's here. Welcome,
Thank
Reverend
you, Reverend.
Ogla. How are you?
Thank you, Reverend Maria. It's a great pleasure for me to be here with you. And what a blessing to have technology that can reach tiny little island off the coast of Puerto Rico, where I actually live, called
Mhm.
Vieques. So it's a joy for
Yeah.
me to be here today.
Yes. Isn't that wonderful that we can reach everywhere all at one time, right?
That's right.
So you and I, we have had this great opportunity to travel and connect together over this maybe what, 9 or 10 months,
Yes.
on a journey accompanying new practitioners. And I first come to know of you a couple of years ago, a few years ago now, when I was in ministerial school. And you have this quiet presence and teaching that, I said to myself, I want to get to know her. I want to know more. I want to get to know who she is. And so now we have this opportunity for me to not only to learn more, but for our audience as well to know more about you. So if we could just go back maybe to the beginning, how did you learn about science of mind?
Well, that's a very interesting story, and I think
Yeah.
that when the student is ready, whatever needs to appear will appear. Reverend
Yeah.
Marie, I actually went to a conference, a Louise Hay conference in San Diego.
Hmm.
I was interested in becoming certified as a Louise Hay teacher, and a woman there from Russia who didn't speak very much English, and I don't speak Russian. I'm fluent in Spanish, gave me a Science of Mind magazine and told me, if you do nothing at all this weekend, please read this magazine. Well, it changed
Wow.
my life. And her name was Angel. So I think I
Wow.
had an angel who was looking over me, not so much that for the certification of Louise Hay, but
Hmm.
so that I can discover science of mind and be included in that. The story then goes on that it just so happens that I called home office, which happened to be at that time in Burbank. This was in 1997. And I was told that an online pioneer class was going to be starting, and
Hmm.
that they were looking for participants. And I said, well, that would be me. And that was in 1997. I have not stopped since, thanks to Reverend Christina Tillotson, who had this vision for the online ministry, and it included me. That's why I think it's so important, our visioning,
Hmm.
our intention, because we never know who it includes.
Yes, yes, indeed. And so you are in the very first class, right? The very first class, not only for practitioners, but also the very first class that was online, right? For Centers for Spiritual Living. So can you
Correct.
say more about that? What was that like? Because I know that the technology
Right.
then
Absolutely.
is not the way it is now.
That's correct, Reverend Marie. And living off on a very remote rural area, it was even more challenging for me. But Reverend Christina was such an expansive mind that she created all kinds of ways. It was primarily by chat and dial up, and that sounds like
Mm-hmm.
ancient history. So you primarily would type in a message and then you'd wait a delay before you got the a response. It was a different time, but there was something within me that was so deeply committed to this teaching, that I could change my mind and change my life. And it touched me at my core. And I
Yeah.
think that all the people that were in the class at that time, and there were six of us, I would say that the majority of them have gone on to become ministers or
Mm-hmm.
long lasting practitioners, like my
Mm.
sister Pat Watson from Canada.
Yes. Yes, I got a chance to meet her when we had, a practitioner event, a few weeks ago. So that's very interesting that you have this bond, right? That was created. I know that I find that all of the classes I've had, and practitioner and ministers, there is this bond that is created that just goes out and just continues. So you did the online program, you finished the online program and you went on to practitioner. Now, what was that one thing that spoke to you and said, I want to know more and I want to go further into ministerial school?
I think that I have always had a calling. I just couldn't identify. My parents were both, they were fundamentalist Pentecostal ministers. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have had that teaching. It just didn't really vibrate with me as to, the fear of God instead of the love of God moving through me.
Yeah.
So I always look for something that kind of vibrated with me. And after online class, I visited the Agape Spiritual Center in California, and I knew that I was in the right place with the teaching because it was inclusive, diverse.
Yeah.
I did not sense a place of judgment or rejection. And that's why I've answered a call that's been made since I can remember myself being myself.
Oh, that's powerful. Say that one more time because that was powerful.
I just simply answered a call from the beginning of time where I could remember myself being myself.
Yes.
One of the things that I remember is children in the neighborhood would ask me to pray for them, or to put my hands over them, or to,
Mm-hmm.
they had earache, or I didn't. I just knew that there was something within me that could do that. It was powerful enough. I had a
Mm-hmm.
faith that knew that they were. And I think sometimes
Yes.
it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Well, that speaks to your profession as well. Can you say a little bit about your profession?
Well, I've been a chiropractor for 40 something years, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always been looking for that healing art, whether it be of the
Mm-hmm.
heart, the soul, or the
Yeah.
body. Which is why now I'm in chaplaincy. I've
Yeah.
heard the call there. And in 2017, Puerto Rico was hit by a Hurricane Maria, and in
Mm-hmm.
experiencing what I saw and the lack of um, chaplains or first responders on the island, and just the sorrow that was moving through this community. And I
Mm-hmm.
decided that I wanted in some way also not just put my hands on people as a chiropractor, but also to be that loving presence, which is what a
Yes.
chaplain is, to be that prayer in form and in action. And
Mm.
I I feel blessed to have to that CSL has a program, and it's directed by Chaplain Paula Belleggi, who's also a minister, and we
Mm-hmm.
have a wonderful CPE program, and I feel blessed to be part of it. And I think it's
Yes.
taking what we do as ministers and practitioners to a totally different level.
So, and I agree that the importance, especially now, now and beyond, and yes, it's always important to have this program. And so, if you can share what the difference is between the two, and how does it support what's going on in the world now? Because we are in two pandemics. So, how does that support your current journey, our current journey as being a chaplain?
Right. I think that, first of all, sometimes people misunderstand what a chaplain is, and they often
Mm-hmm.
associate it with being an hospice. And there are so many different facets of being a chaplain. We can be a ministry chaplain, we can be a policeman chaplain, we can be a first
Mm.
responder chaplain, we can be basically a chaplain in your own ministry without
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not being having to be connected to something.
Mm-hmm.
What a chaplain is basically it, the prayer in form and an action. It's that listening empathic ear that allows you that space to open up, to crack your heart open and be vulnerable, and maybe take that mask off without being judged. So that is the position and the place of a chaplain is a very powerful, loving, compassionate uh, position. A minister is one in which guides you. It is more, oftentimes telling you, from the readings of Ernest Holmes or guidance of what theology you can best use. But a chaplain is primarily the ears of the heart.
Mm. Ah, wow. That's powerful. I don't know if people who are listening to us, if you have your journal handy or if you have a notebook, you might want to take a few notes. Chaplaincy is the ears of the heart. That was another powerful statement. Thank you. Now, one thing I know about you, like I said, I first come to know of you in one of my classes. And I know that you teach classes online for people who are all over the world, right? And I also know that you go and you teach in different places in the world. You were recently in Cuba. Can you share that experience with us?
Yes, certainly, Reverend Marie. Well, because the online ministry for me is so important, that is how I learned about science of mind.
Hmm.
So, my intention is to take science of mind to those places that normally would not be
Yeah.
what people would not normally hear about science of mind, or it's not so easily accessible. My last trip was in March. I was blessed to travel to Cuba with one of my students, Gordon Lilly from Winnipeg, Canada, and also Patti Lara, practitioner from Mexico. And we basically, our purpose was to teach foundations online, to teach foundations in person. These students, over 30 of them, have a deep hunger for learning about science of mind. And because their
Hmm.
internet access is so challenged there, sometimes we have a group class online, but maybe the internet
Hmm.
will drop, or people are
Right.
just, it's not the same. If they have questions, there's 30 people in one Zoom room, not multiple, but
Yeah.
in one Zoom. So they were so receptive. They were so receptive. There was standing room only in that in that meeting hall that we used. And my intention is to continue to go back because they have
Hmm.
expressed a desire to be practitioners. And at this moment, I'm also supporting a science of mind um, study group in Nigeria. with my brother
Yes.
Joseph. And they also want to have an online class because the regular classes that are taught for them is 2 o'clock in the morning. So they
Mm-hmm.
have to get up to assist a regular foundation class. And that causes sleep deprivation. You can't really learn
Right. Right.
principle, but it just shows the motivation and desire of another very large group in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So my objective is to teach a class in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
foundations online to our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, foundations of the science of mind.
Yes. Wow. Well, thank you for all the good work you're doing in the world. One thing that I know also as a focused ministry minister is that as we are doing our good work, we're often doing it away from a traditional community, a traditional center, and sometimes, we're doing it by ourselves. How do you support yourself in community? You know, what kind of support system do you have in place for yourself?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question because one of the things I have learned in
Yeah.
my own process is that we cannot give what we don't have. And if we
Yes.
are worn and thin, then we can't work at our maximum. I am blessed to have Reverend Cynthia James in my life, and she has been a great mentor to me. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I have learned in some of her workshops, because I'm also a freedom coach with Reverend
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia, is the importance of self care, the
Yes.
rest. I have
Mm-hmm.
my wonderful prayer partner, Judy Ann Young, who supports me long distance all the way from Las Vegas, and just reminding each other that we are here to serve, but we are also here to take care of ourselves. The
Mm.
community in which I live, my children, I just feel that I am blessed, and I know how to say no at this moment or ask myself the
Yes.
question, is this mine to do? And
Yes.
if the answer comes up, and you have also been very instrumental in the time that we've been together, Reverend Marie, to kind of shine a light on me as to, hey, when it's time to slow down and it's okay to say no. Um,
Yes.
and
Thank
and
you.
I and I think that's a very powerful place to acknowledge that we are not here to cover the whole universe and the whole world with no sleep and a cracker, you know.
No sleep in the cracker, right? Yes. Be sure if you all are listening, write that down. We are not here to live in that way. Yes.
Right.
So before we end our time together today, what is next for you on your spiritual journey?
My spiritual journey right now is about learning the quality of absolute surrender, and I know
Mm,
that in itself is the chaplaincy. My desire is
mm-hmm,
to be a chaplain supervisor, and
mm,
to be able to offer this to online and to Spanish
yeah,
speaking um, people, as I know offer classes in Spanish also in Spanish,
yeah.
and to know that there are different options. Everyone does not have to go into the ministry. We can also go and do wonderful work within the chaplaincy. So that is
Mhm.
what I feel is calling me the strongest. And that is what I feel is I'm attracting with and to and surrendering to. And
Yes.
the best is yet to come, Reverend Marie.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How can those who are watching now or who will watch later, how can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me by my email, which is Ogla Silva, my name. And I know it's not Olga, it's Ogla, Ogla Silva at
Yes.
yahoo.com. And in whatever way I can support people or give them better information or more information, you can go on csl.org, and all kinds of information are there for the chaplaincy program and the ministerial program, and taking wonderful classes, which is the first step in your journey of transformation.
Well, thank you so much, Reverend Ogla, for being here today. It has been a joy, and I so look forward to our next conversation. Peace and blessings.
So it is, my sister. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Reverend Marie.
Welcome. You're welcome.